Hi there, and welcome back to the BioStar Air tutorial series. In this video, we'll walk you through how to register and configure biometric readers for facial authentication. To get started, you'll need to register a biometric reader, and the process is just like registering any other reader. In this example, we'll use the newly supported BioStation 3, introduced in the 2.10 update. Just make sure you're within Bluetooth range, and that the device is powered on and connected to the internet. Open the BioStar Air app on your phone, tap the All menu icon, tap Devices, and then press the plus icon. When the device appears on your feed, press Register, then press OK. Your device will now appear in your registered device upon refreshing the page. Your reader must be running the latest BioStar Air firmware to connect properly with the system and support all available features. First, make sure you order devices with the Air model name, which are preloaded with the right firmware. Then, make sure to check and update the firmware by going to Registered Devices under Device Management in your BioStar Air web portal or mobile app. There, choose the latest version, currently 2.10 and above. Also make sure the device is online and ideally run updates outside business hours to avoid interruptions. Let's now walk through the biometric reader configuration. First, go to Device Management in the BioStar Air portal. Then, click on Registered Devices and select your device. Scroll down to the Authentication section to set up how the reader will operate. Here, you can choose single-factor, RF card or face, or two-factor, RF card plus face. Just delete and select your preferred method. Then, you can set the authentication timeout, which defines how long the system will wait for the user to authenticate. If authentication isn't completed within that time, access is denied. Under the face section, you'll also adjust security and detection settings. First is fake detection level. Options are normal, secure, more secure, and most secure. This helps prevent spoofing and identity theft. For most environments, secure is sufficient. Increase the level if your site is particularly at risk of spoofing attacks. You'll also see a setting called duplicate check. When enabled, the system checks for faces already stored on that device, preventing the same face from being registered twice. Now, let's fine-tune how the reader detects a face. For motion sensor sensitivity, choose between low, medium, or high. In high-traffic outdoor areas, set it to low to prevent constant triggering. In quieter areas, you can use high for convenience and adjust as needed. Then, maximum head pose angle defines how far a user can turn their head and still be recognized. A wider angle offers more flexibility, which is useful if the reader is positioned at an angle from the entry point. Otherwise, keep it at the default to reduce false rejections. Then, we have wide search. When enabled, the reader can recognize faces anywhere within the camera's view, not just in the center. We recommend enabling this in tight spaces, where users can't naturally center themselves in front of the reader. Then, the detection distance sets the minimum and maximum range for recognition. Match this to your site layout to avoid accidental authentication. A good starting point is between 60 centimeters and 100 centimeters. The enrollment timeout controls how long the system will wait during face enrollment. If the face isn't captured in that time, the process will cancel automatically. Now let's look at mask detection settings. When enabled, BioStation 3 can detect whether a person is wearing a mask. If a mask isn't detected, you can either deny entry or allow access, but log the event. Mask checks can be performed before or after credential verification. There are 3 sensitivity levels: strict, more strict, and most strict, which determine how closely the system checks for full mask coverage over the mouth and nose. Start with strict and increase only if too many users pass the check with poorly worn masks. Finally, mask detection can also run without access control, which is useful for public areas like shopping malls or government buildings, where compliance is the only requirement to entry. All these settings give you the flexibility to strike the right balance between security, usability, and speed tailored to your site's environment. Now, to add a face credential, you can follow the same steps we covered in our previous video on uploading biometric templates. We show you how to enroll a face using a photo, a connected reader, or even remotely via registration link. So if you haven't seen that yet, it's worth checking out. Let's recap a few things to keep in mind. Devices must have a BioStar Air compatible firmware and that firmware must be updated to its latest version. For two-factor authentication, check two credential options together, for example, both card and face, and delete the others. If you're using a BioEntry W3 or BioStation 3 and something's not working, double-check the security settings or consult the product manual for more advanced configuration. And that's it for this walkthrough on biometric reader setup in BioStar Air. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.